let's be real for a second. Intimacy can sometimes feel, well, like a performance, right? We're just bombarded with these messages that there's a right way to do things, a script we have to follow to be considered a good partner. And honestly, it creates so much pressure to get everything perfect.
I mean, you've seen these headlines everywhere. How to make your wife horny. These cultural scripts are everywhere we look. And they all boil down to the same idea, that intimacy is some kind of goal you have to achieve, a problem you can solve if you just use the right technique.
But here's a wild idea. What if all that effort, all that focus on performance and getting a specific result, what if that's the very thing that's getting in the way? What if the real secret isn't about doing more, but actually about trying a whole lot less?
And that's exactly where a practice called sesate focus comes in. It is a totally different way of thinking about touch and connection. In fact, it pretty much flips all those cultural scripts we just talked about right on their head.
So what is this thing really? Well, at its heart, sesate focus is basically a kind of mindfulness, but specifically for touch. It's a structured way to just explore sensations for their own sake. You strip away all the goals, all the pressure to perform, or even feel a certain way. It's all about getting back in touch with the physical experience itself.
This quote just nails it. We get so wrapped up in the end goal that we completely forget about the language we're using to get there. Sesate focus asks us to stop trying to write the entire poem at once, and instead, just feel the texture of the words, or in this case, the simple, powerful sensation of touch.
Okay, so to make this work, you have to adopt 3 attitudes that are, frankly, game changers. First up, touching for self. This one is pretty radical. You are not trying to please your partner. Your only job is to focus on what your own fingertips are feeling. Second, touching for interest. Forget about trying to create pleasure or arousal. Your only goal is to be curious, kind of like a scientist. Is this skin warm? Is this texture smooth or rough? And third, managing distractions. Look, your mind is going to wander. That's a given. The practice isn't about having a totally clear mind. It's about gently, without judgment, bringing your attention back to the physical sensations again and again.
Now, to really get why this all works so well, we have to talk about the single most important idea behind sesate focus. Seriously, this is the big aha moment for most people.
Sex is a natural function. Just let that sink in for a second. It's just like breathing, or digesting your food, or falling asleep. It's something your body already knows how to do all by itself. It is not a skill you have to master, or a performance you need to perfect.
And that creates this huge contrast, right? The performance mindset is all about goals and control, which, let's face it, is a perfect recipe for anxiety. But a natural function, you can't force it. It happens on its own when the conditions are right. And those conditions always involve relaxation and just getting out of your own head.
And this brings us to the central paradox of it all. Think about trying to fall asleep. The harder you try to force yourself to sleep, what happens? You just get more and more awake. Well, sexual response works the exact same way. The more you desperately try to make it happen, the more you just chase it away. Sesate focus is all about creating the right conditions so it can happen naturally.
So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, sesate focus isn't just one single technique. It's actually broken down into 2 very distinct phases, sesate focus 1 and sesate focus 2. And they each have a very different job. So let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, this distinction is really important. Sesate Focus 1, or SF1, is the therapeutic foundation. It's all about using these structured, non-sexual touching exercises to basically dismantle performance anxiety. For example, in the beginning, touching genitals or breasts is strictly off-limits, which removes all that pressure and expectation. Then, once that foundation is built, you can move to Sesate Focus 2, or SF2. This is about taking those new mindfulness skills and using them to enhance connection and satisfaction, slowly reintroducing different kinds of touch as you go.
This table just lays it all out so clearly. With SF1, the goal is pretty clinical. It's about resolving a difficulty. The focus is almost entirely on your own sensory world, and the attitude is one of neutral interest. But with SF2, everything shifts. The goal becomes enhancement. The focus becomes relational, about the two of you, and the attitude can finally move from just pure interest towards shared pleasure. But you absolutely have to master the first before you can really get the benefits of the second.
A good way to think about Sesate Focus 1 is like learning scales on a piano. It's not the concert. It's about mastering the absolute fundamentals. It's a quiet, internal, structured way to unlearn all that performance anxiety and relearn how to simply be present. The clear boundaries, like avoiding certain areas at first, create this incredibly safe space that is completely free of any expectation.
And once you've mastered those scales, Sensate Focus 2 is like getting to compose music together. You can finally move beyond the purely technical and into a shared, creative, and deeply connected experience. This is where the solid structure of SF1 gives you the freedom to really explore, shifting the focus from me to we, all built on that solid foundation of mindfulness.
So you see, the whole point here is that this practice takes you on a journey. It isn't just about fixing a problem. It's about a massive shift in how you relate to your body, to your partner, and to the whole experience of intimacy itself.
The whole process really starts here. During Sensate Focus 1, you are very consciously, very mindfully absorbed in the sensations. You are actively paying attention to things like temperature, pressure, texture. It's a deliberate act of focus.
But the ultimate goal, the place you want to get to, is a state where you're no longer trying to focus at all. You just become absorbed by the sensations. It's this beautiful shift from conscious effort to just effortless presence. That is the experience of sensuality, where your thinking mind finally gets quiet and your body takes the lead.
And that's really the big takeaway. Sensate Focus gives you a clear path away from the anxiety of performance and toward the deep connection you can only find in mindful sensory presence. It's all about getting out of your head and back into your body.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After everything we've talked about, what if the answer we're all looking for? What if it isn't about learning more tricks or following more steps? What if it's simply about changing where we put our attention?